Hey everyone! Currently there is a massive roadwork project right outside, so if you hear weird or loud noises, that's what that is. Let's make Marnie's head! Like the video. Turn on the first reference collection. Shift A, add a cube. Add a subdivision modifier. Disable optimal display. Position and scale in edit mode to match the reference. Scale down on the x-axis. Apply the subdivision modifier. We're going to do some adjusting to roughly match our shape to the reference. Add a subdivision modifier again. Move stuff around so that the subdivided mesh starts to better line up with the reference. Make sure to circle select so that we get the vertices on both sides of her head. All of this is just really grabbing and moving vertices. I tried to record this in a way that's easy to follow along with. I zoomed way in on some of the smaller edits so that you can clearly see them. It helps a ton to have a second 3D viewport window open, on another screen if you're fancy, so you can see the overall level of detail on the character as you go. When you get to this point, apply your subdivision modifier. Add a subdivision modifier yet again, and scale up to offset the lost volume from the subdivision. Circle select these two vertices and scale up on the x-axis. Let's move some stuff around. If you ever want to see the exact transforms I make, you can see them in this little box, down here. I'm not going to worry too much about the shape of the back of the head, it'll be mostly hair. Shape her chin a little bit. Now to shape where her eyes go. We're about to make some changes that are harder to do on both sides, so let's set up our object so we only have to do it once. Select and delete half of her face. Add a mirror modifier, move it into the first position, enable clipping. I'm going to make her head a little bit more bulbous by moving stuff around. Select these 6 faces. Invert selection with Ctrl-I, hide with H. Select our 6 faces again and inset with I. If the new faces are joining at the mirror line, hit B to make it stop doing that. Now line up this new geometry with the shape of her eyes. Only worry about their positioning in front view for now. If you have difficulties visualizing where the eye opening would be, select these 2 vertices and delete them. Now line up the new geometry with the reference in side view. For the most part, only move on the Y-axis. Tabbing into object mode will show you your entire object, including anything that you've hidden. And I think that's looking pretty close. Unhide. Time to adjust the geometry surrounding her eyes. Now to work on her face, select and hide anything that we don't need currently. Select this face on her face. Inset with I, hit B to get it to merge on the center line. Start shaping her mouth. In side view, we can start to get her lips shaped. Use the knife tool with K to cut 2 edges here. Connect these 2 vertices with J. Position the new geometry. Sometimes it can be really hard to tell if it looks good or not. Select all and smooth shade. It's not perfect yet, but pretty close. Unhide everything with Alt-H. Let's make some room for a nose. Control-R to add edge loop here. Try to line this curve up with the top of the nose. And get distracted real quick by her jawline. Select all and shade smooth. In object mode, apply the modifiers from top down. Delete half of the head and mirror it. Alt select this loop and hide it for about 2 seconds. Unhide. Circle select and hide the back of her head. Use the knife tool to cut in an edge or two. Now cut in an edge here. Control R to add an edge loop down here. Join these two vertices with J. Select these two vertices in this order and merge at last. Do the same down here. Turn on proportional editing. Select and hide the eye loop again so we don't edit it on accident. Shape her cheeks by pulling back some of these vertices. Turn off proportional editing and pull these two vertices to start her nose. Space this one out a little bit. Make some minor adjustments. Hide the back of her head. Adjust the curvature of her nose by moving stuff around a little. Cut an edge here with the knife tool, and pull this vertex forward to match the reference. Match the nose to the reference. Unhide. Let's see how it looks with the subdivision modifier. It's looking pretty good, but her chin could use a little adjusting. Turn off visibility of the subdivision modifier. And let's move some stuff around to try to sharpen her chin a little bit. Like always, hide stuff that could get in the way. Let's make an ear. Shift A, add a circle. Change the vertex count to 12. In edit mode, rotate by 90 degrees on the X-axis and 15 degrees on the Y-axis. Position and scale. Name and hide the head object. Scale down on the X-axis. Use proportional to shape it like an ear. Just make it ear-shaped. Position on the Y-axis and extrude back. Extrude again and merge at center. Move this back vertex down. Join these two vertices with J. Merge these two at center with M. Shape the ear a little more. Fill in the faces. That's more than good enough for now. Select this back vertex and set the cursor to selected. In object mode, set the object origin to cursor. Set the cursor back to world origin. Position and rotate our ear in object mode to match the reference. Select all and shade smooth. Add a mirror modifier and use the head as the mirror object. Make any adjustments to her face that you want at this point. It's looking okay, but I'm seeing some issues we can fix by retopoing. Shift A, add a plane. Rotate by 90 on the X-axis in edit mode. Move it off to the side and scale down. Merge at center with M. Turn on snapping to face. And drag it onto her face. I turned on in front in my head object earlier for some reason, so turn it back off. Go back into our retopo plane and turn on in front for it. You might find it beneficial to turn on wireframe in the head object as well. Rename our new object. Start extruding up vertices onto the face. Outline the eye. I'm aiming for 19 or 20 vertices for some reason, just exactly 19 or 20 vertices. If it doesn't have that, you're doing something wrong. Fix anything that snapped to the inside of her head. There are many ways to retopo an object, some are significantly faster. I find that I'm most comfortable with doing it by hand with snapping. You can extrude and snap multiple vertices at once. Make sure you have project individual elements enabled in snapping, or that you manually grab and place each vertex after extruding. Try to line stuff up and fill in faces as you go. Add a mirror modifier. Unhide the back of her head. Select these vertices and separate by selection with P. Disable the visibility of this new object. Keep extruding and lining things up. Switch into wireframe to find the location of this line on her reference. Use the head as the mirror object to ensure that our retopo object mirrors properly. Turn on clipping while working near the mirror line. Pay extra attention to edge flow since we want this to be our final topology. Disable clipping if vertices get caught in the mirror line. Don't be afraid of tries when attempting to keep your poly count low. Turn clipping back on. And clipping off again. I actually like the first nose, so I think we'll turn off the visibility of the head subdivision modifier and essentially copy it. Just grab and snap the retopple vertices directly on the guide vertices. Switch snapping to vertex and use the location of the original nose tip. Fill in faces. Switch snapping back to face. Select all and shade smooth. Alt-N and recalculate outside to get rid of this weird shading. Now, just continue retopoing. Try to line everything up smoothly. Pay attention to the shading as you go. Enable the back of the head whenever you need it. Enabling backface culling can be handy while retopoing. Enable clipping. Divide this face with J. Turn clipping off. Outline her mouth. Clipping back on. I'm aiming for 5 vertices on top and bottom and a side one, so 11 total. Extrude in vertices like so. And fill in the faces. My mouth's normals are flipped, and Blender isn't sure which way should be out yet. So select these faces, and try recalculating inside if outside doesn't work. Select all and shade smooth. Now connect everything together. Continue the retopo process. Pay attention to the vertices over here while placing the ones down here. This edge was one of the main things I liked the least about my original head object, so I'm putting it in first. Make sure clipping is on when working near the center line, and off when you need to extrude from the center. Let's create our mouth opening real quick. Select these vertices. Hit V to rip them apart. If you're selected on the top vertices, move them down on the Z axis slightly. Turn off snapping and move the bottom ones up. Turn on the ears wireframe view, and retopo the ears to the head. You can use snapping to vertex if you want, I just eyeballed it. Merge at last with M. I accidentally made an edge here with F instead of J, so dissolve it with X and make a new one with J, if that ever happens. Turn clipping back on. I want to see where her neck is, so find the dress object and enable it. Turn on wireframe in the dress object. Switch snapping to vertex. Extruded snap vertices onto the neck vertices. But first, turn off clipping. Turn the dress back off. Now, continue retopoing. See how this looks in the mirror? That's an accidental F instead of J, so keep a lookout for those. Change snapping back to face. The back of her head can be simplified drastically. Smooth shade. Recalculate outside and shade smooth whenever anything looks wrong. Turn off snapping and move these vertices forward a bit. Smooth out the curve. I'm just gonna grab and snap everything on her forehead one last time. Disable the original head and ears and take a look. This is looking pretty good. Line up this edge with the reference. Simplify our geometry anywhere that we can remove edges without changing our face's shape too much. Select this portion of the edge loop by selecting and holding Ctrl. Hit X and choose Dissolve Edges. Get rid of this N-gon by joining here with J. This face divided weird, so divide it manually with J in this direction. Add an edge with J here, and here. Dissolve this edge. Edge slide to smooth. Add some edges in here with J. Dissolve this edge. Do the same here. And I guess maybe here, why not? Why not? Just do a bunch. All the simplifying makes it easier to smoothly round this upper edge. Maybe add an edge here with J. I added a few more edges here, just to direct the face angles. Add an edge here, and dissolve this one. Add an edge here, and here. Perhaps dissolve this edge. There's a spot on her jaw that needs some adjusting. You should turn off snapping just to be safe. I didn't, but it still worked out. Give her eyebrows some definition by selecting these vertices and moving them in. That's looking good to me! Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Please subscribe and stuff if you haven't already. Love you all! Goodbye!